Hi, this is Trey Pass. I want to do my review of The Umbrella Academy Season 2, and this review is going to have spoilers in it because there's so much in it that I wanted to talk about it without trying to talk around it. So this review is going to have spoilers. Like I said, I finished watching it. My original intention was to watch, because it premiered last Friday, was to watch a couple episodes Friday, a couple episodes Saturday, and wrap it up on Sunday. But I became so engrossed in it that I watched, I think, 3 episodes. I fell asleep on episode number 4. And then I went to bed, and I started watching some on Saturday, and I actually finished it on Saturday instead of Sunday because it just intrigued me that much. Okay, let me first say I loved the first season, but I think this season is a lot better than the first season. And, just I really enjoyed it, and I love the actors, I love the characters and stuff. But let me give you a brief description of how it ended, because we actually saw, if you watched this season 1, you know how it ended. The apocalypse, which... Vanya, who was the most powerful Hargreaves, whose powers were suppressed by her father, Reginald Hargreaves, she literally put a hole in the moon and brought about the destruction of the apocalypse of the world. So number 5, played by Aidan Gallagher, he transported him and his siblings back and through time, because that's his ability. He can jump through time, and he transported his family back at the end, and that's how it ended, with him transporting his family back out of time as the war literally blew up. Okay, and which is a great way to end it. Okay, so of course I was anxious to see season 2 after seeing the couple of pictures and stuff and seeing the trailers, and of course this picks up right where that left off with the number 5. Actually, you see him. He actually drops off each of the siblings in the 60s. Like a year apart. I think it starts with this in 60, and then he just drops various family members off, and then I think he gets up to 1963 or 4. I think it's 3, and literally he gets dropped into the middle of a war zone, and he sees the siblings using their powers and abilities to their full potential. They're actually working in concert, and all of the family members are actually using their powers in unison, and it looks absolutely fantastic. Okay, and then of course he gets visited by Hazel, an older Hazel, who comes and grabs him, and as we see Nuke's getting ready to drop, he grabs number 5 and says, "We gotta go. If you want to save your family, we gotta go." And they jump again through time, and we see the rest of the family members looking up, and we see the nukes dropping. Okay, which is a great opening scene for season 2. Okay, and like I said, number 5 gets explained to him by Hazel that basically the ramifications of this. There's a new the time bureau is all screwed up and everything else. But before he can tell him anything further, he gets literally wiped out, assassinated by these 3 Swedes assassins. These 3 Swedish guys that are assassins. And number 5, of course, has to jump out. And basically, his mission is to find his siblings. Go and find out where they are and get everybody back together. And after stop the new apocalypse that he jumped just right out of, so he has to find his siblings and find out where they are, because they all landed in Dallas, Texas, in one particular alley, just a year apart. Okay, and he basically, number 5, has to track his siblings down to gather them together so they can leap and at least attempt to stop the apocalypse from happening. Okay, and that's the gist of this. And like I said, what I liked about this season is that the siblings are all more or less in one place, and they have to literally find each other, but they all have their own individual stories. Like Vanya, who she literally gets hit by a car, and she gets taken in by this married woman with a young son who's named Harlan, who's autistic. He's autistic. He can't really speak, but she gets taken in with them. Luther, he becomes friends with believe it or not, Jack Ruby. And he works as a bouncer and a fighter in a kind of an underground club. Okay, and then we have Diego. He's been put in a mental institution because, of course, he's trying. When he figures out where he is, he's nuts, and he's trying to stop the Kennedy assassination from happening. Okay, so he's been put in his own mental institution. Okay, and who else is left? Claus. Yeah, Claus actually uses his power to basically start a cult. Okay, which is great. And he's, of course, along with the ghost Ben, who's kind of, you know, stuck with Klaus, and so he's with him as you know, and only of course only since Klaus' ability is to communicate with the dead, he's the only one that can see Ben. Okay, and like I said, number 5 has to go around and literally try to find his siblings and get them together. Of course, like I said, at the same time, there's something happening. The Hamlet character, who was played by what's her name, Kate Walsh, she's still scheming. And like I said, first season, we saw her get shot in the head, and of course, we find out in this season she's alive, and of course, she's scheming and plotting as usual. Okay, to try to get her way. Okay, and like I said, the siblings are, you know, they have their own individual stories and stuff. And what I like, they slowly but surely they, you know, start to find each other. Okay. Oh, I forgot one other sibling, Allison. Allison gets like because it's the 60s. Okay, she actually literally gets dropped into a place, Dallas, of course, naturally in the 60s, of course, where there was still, separation and stuff, and she literally goes into a, a place, and she doesn't. And it takes her a minute because, and remember, her throat got cut by Vanya in season 1, so she can't use her power. So she literally has to run for her life from a bunch of bigots, and she runs into a beauty salon run by black women who take her in, and then she slowly but surely becomes friends with them, and she actually meets a guy named Raymond Chestnut, who's the kind of a leader of this civil rights group, and she actually marries him, and she becomes part of the movement. Okay, so we have all these individual stories with these various family members doing their own thing, and like I said, they slowly but surely come together. Okay, and of course number 5, who's my favorite, okay, played by Aidan Gallagher, who's a really good actor. Okay, and like I say, because technically number 5 is older, he's lived this whole exciting existence. Okay, as an assassination for the bureau, and he literally, when he jumped back, he got put into a little kid's body. Okay, so he's world weary. Okay, and he literally has to like I said, find his family members and get them together. And of course there's issues and stuff like Vanya, she moves in with a farm family, and she gets really close to the mother and the son. Okay, and literally she falls in love with the mother character, and they have a mutual kind of love thing. And then of course like I said, Luther, he gets involved with Jack Ruby, and because he couldn't find Allison, he becomes, but he doesn't really give a crap about anything, and he becomes this, he does underground fights and stuff, and he doesn't really care about anything. And of course, like I said, Klaus, he becomes part of a cult, and he's trying to do his own thing, and Ben is of course trying to give him advice and tell him to straighten out and not to cheat people and stuff. And then of course Diego, like I said, he's driven, he wants to be a hero, but he's, like I said, he's stuck in a mental institution. Okay, and he wants to get out and see if he can stop the Kennedy assassination, because like I said, he's the most one that's driven to his mission to be a hero. So he wants to see if he can he can stop Kennedy from being assassinated. Okay, and which I think is really good. And while there, he meets this character named Lila, who pretends to be crazy, let's put it that way. And we find out later she got a different mission, but she kind of like this annoying sidekick that hangs out with Diego, and they literally escape from the mental institution. And the fun about this season to me is that they have to find each other and stuff, and they have their own individual stories, which is good, and they ultimately come together. But we have resolutions to a lot of issues, like Luther, he actually runs into Vanya, literally by mistake, and he literally has to he apologized to her about the way he treated her in the last season. Okay, which I thought was nice. And the only character to me who doesn't get that much character growth in this second season is Luther. To me, I mean, he has a little thing with being a bouncer and stuff, and the underground fighting thing, but he really doesn't do as much as he did in the first season. In this season, I think he kind of takes a back seat. And we have Allison, who actually becomes really front and center. And she, like I said, she marries a civil rights leader, and she has a purpose and a mission, and she seems to be really comfortable and living her best life in this. And it seems like it's not in the first season, where she was kind of this, bored starlet, single mother who had a daughter. But in this sense, she seems like she has a purpose and a mission. Okay, I think the only one that kind of slid back a little bit is Claus, who always was kind of drunk in this, drunk in the first season. Of course, in this season, like I say, he starts the cult and all this stuff, but he has uh, Ben, the gross Ben, with him all the time, kind of, and they yin to their yang, but he actually becomes has a purpose, even though he actually meets somebody that he met in the first season. If you saw the first season, you saw when he went back in time, and he actually spent time in Vietnam, where he actually fell in love. And in this season, he actually meets the young character that he fell in love with, the soldier that he fell in love with before he enlists, and he of course is trying to prevent him from enlisting, so he won't die, because of course this is the person that he loved and that died in Vietnam. Okay, and like I said, his story is good. And like I said, they actually you two run into their father, Reginald Hargreaves, played by Colin Farrell, and they see him as a younger guy. And like I said, he was a bit of an asshole in season one. We didn't see him that much, just only in flashbacks. But in this season, he's even more of an asshole, and we get to see him a little bit more. We get to see him actually meeting Mother, who's Grace, the character that was modeled after who raised the six heroes, who was a robot. We actually get to meet the real life, or the real model of that person, which I thought was interesting to see. Okay, and of course, when Dago sees her, he kind of totally flips out and basically tries to get her to stay away from Reginald Hargreaves. And like I said, this story has all these individual stories, and they all come together. And also at the same time, like I said, the handler, played by Kate Walsh, she has her own schemes, and she's trying to get more power and stuff and take over. And also, like I said, we have these three blonde assassins that are being sent after the heroes, the Hargreaves, to kill them, and they literally have to dodge and dip and get away from those characters as well. Okay, played by these three Swedes who actually are pretty funny, actually, and pretty, and actually, they don't speak, but they actually, to me, gave, even though they didn't say anything, they said a lot by not even actually speaking. And they're responsible for a lot of the mayhem as well in this. And like I said, Diego and Lila, those two characters, like I said, that he meets Lila in the mental institution, they actually become a thing. And of course, there's an ulterior motive actually to the character of Lila, which we find out towards the end of the series. Okay, but I like this show. This show, I mean, like I said, these episodes to me, they moved. Things got done. They didn't keep the siblings separated too long, which I thought was really good and effective. They had them slowly but surely find each other, like one on one. And like I said, number 5 is trying to get everybody together and trying to be the organizer. Because if you think, because I guess because the actor plays it that way, and it's supposed to be that way, because literally he is the oldest technically, okay, of all the kids and stuff. He lived his life as an assassin in all those years, so he's older. He has experience, and he's trying to basically wrangle his family together so they can actually stop the second apocalypse. But of course, these human issues that they have with with their significant others that they meet and with each other kind of interfere with things. But as far as storytelling goes, this is really good, and I really liked it a lot. And like I said, there's a lot of moving parts in this, a lot of funny moments, and there's a lot of moments that make you kind of tear up, because there's a lot of bonding family members as well. And like I said, the actors do a great job in this. And like I said, the only actor I think that got character-wise that got kind of short-shifted to me is Luther, the character of Luther, because to me he didn't have as much to do in this episode. But to me, the standouts, of course, is number 5, who's my favorite, played by Aidan Gallagher. I think he's just a fantastic actor, and he just plays that part really well. And Robert Sheenan, who plays Claus, he's just he plays an outrageous character, but he does it so well and so effortlessly. Okay, that he always looks like he's out of it, and and of course we have to also figure that he argues with the Ben character, who only he can see. And I like to see, we got to see more of the character of Ben, played by Justin H.M. We got to see more of him because he was in this series more than he was in the first series, which I thought was a nice thing. And like I said, Allison, to me, that character got a lot to do, and she actually became important. She got an agency. Okay, she wasn't like she was in the first season. In this series he had a purpose and a drive, which I thought I really enjoyed a lot. Okay, and even Diego, to me, he became a smarter person than he was, because let's face it, in the first series, he was kind of an idiot. Wanted to be a hero and all this stuff, but not going about the right way. But in um, this season, to me, I think he kind of grew up and became a well-rounded person, and I think a lot of that is his circumstances, him being put in those circumstances, and also him meeting the character of Lila as well. Okay, and I think he also interacting more again with his siblings. And I liked Vanya. She had a nice little story too as well, and with her, her basically falling in love with this farm lady, lady that she met, who hit her with the car and stuff, and becoming part of her family. So overall, I like this season. I thought it's better than season 1, hands down, in my opinion. So overall, I'm gonna give this season 2 of Umbrella Academy, which I like better than season 1. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it a lot. I thought it definitely continued the story and advanced the story, and we got to see the siblings in various different situations and stuff, and we actually got to see them interact with their father actually as an adult, which I thought was a nice little twist and stuff. And we got to know a little bit more too of the Reginald Hargreaves character, the younger version of that character, and I thought that was real interesting and stuff, and bodes well for series, season 3 when that comes about, because the way season 2 ended was a nice little cliffhanger, which definitely makes me anxious for season 3. So definitely can't wait to check that out and see the possibilities of what's going to happen in season 3. So anyway, let me know what you think. If you've seen it, Umbrella Academy season 2, what do you think of it? Feel free to leave comments down below. I have links to my social media in the description box: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I also have a link to my other channel, All Views and Opinions. Please check that out as well. And this is Trey Pastor saying so long. Take care.